I mean, not every real estate agent can claim they specialize in results like Toni Childs. But I don't feel sorry for Toni Childs.
Hello everybody, I'm cocoacosmos and I've decided to go a bit more thorough with this analysis. Like, I did the mini and it's just not enough. There's too much of Toni's character to explore, so let's do that. Toni. Where do I begin? Toni Childs is a woman who clearly enjoys and feels that she's owed the finer things in life, whether that means she works for it or has a man supply them. Either way, she'll have them because that's what she feels she deserves. She's also not one to sugarcoat anything, which can mean she comes off a bit abrasive or just plain hateful. Now, I don't necessarily agree that it's always like that, because sometimes it's necessary. But I can be the blunt type, so I can see Toni being more of an acquired taste, and sometimes that attitude can get her in trouble. Lots of people call her uppity or say she thinks she's better than everyone else. While the latter being true, you can't really say that about the former.
Oh, you're running boxes? Don't go anywhere, I gotta pee, but I'll be right back with my checkbook.
Otherwise, she'd never be around Lynn, and if she had the choice, probably Maya too, even though they end up growing closer later in the series. Toni is also the you go low, I go to hell type, but since she's also the type that's not great at taking accountability, it really does just make things worse. Like that time she was dating two guys at the same time, then one proposed, she accepted, but then changed her mind and then everyone was upset by the end of it. She just saw it as a heart versus brain situation, or in this case, love versus stability.
I can't go back to living in a studio apartment, sleeping on a futon and surviving on passion and ramen noodles.
I mean, come on, a doctor that can afford a rock this big, or the starving artist that she was actually in love with. Tough decision. Classic decision. She just never took into account how it would affect the other parties if they just simply didn't know about each other. Then there was a time she accused Todd of having an affair because she was afraid of losing him because they had already been fighting so much. Also, she was pregnant. She's just not the type to hold back. If she wants to say something, she'll say it. If she wants to do something, she'll do it. No matter to whose detriment it may be besides her daughter Morgan's. The one other person she cares more about than herself. She just has this aura of, I'm better than you. Now, as far as her friend circle goes, it's pretty meh, as I explained in this video here. She believes she's better than both Lynn and Maya to an extent, but if we focus a bit more on the dynamic between her and Joan, her friend since 4th grade, you can't get a clearer picture of their dynamic than when we see this.
Why do you put Toni's feelings ahead of your own?
Because that's what you're supposed to, huh?
What's with her? What's with you? You promised to be there for her and you're 4 hours late?
Well, I'm here now.
Their dynamic should probably be its own video because genuinely, how is Joan a pushover and controlling of others? I just feel like you can't please the people you're trying to get to please you. Not in the way that she's trying to get anyways. I get the feeling that Toni cares deeply about them, though she has a funny way of showing it. Would she ever say she needed them? Well, technically yes, she has before. Though it's when she was up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. I think deep down she'd never sincerely mean it out loud, or she'd say it in a way that she always does when she wants to bypass stuff. It all comes from her upbringing. Every bit of it. She has this scarcity mindset that comes from her childhood. I don't know much about California, but the way they talk about Fresno makes it seem like it's the country, the ghetto, the hood, or whatever. She ain't going back is what I'm getting at. She wanted the latest of everything growing up, but they couldn't afford it. She wanted the best of everything. That's just who she was. Plus, growing up with a temperamental, mostly absent, alcoholic mom who dotes on her brother, treats her older sister like garbage allegedly, and that same sister resents her for leaving her there. Which, this is exactly why I decided to do a closer look at Toni. Particularly the episode Blood is Thicker Than Liquor. It pissed me off so horribly the way everyone was treating Toni. I'm sorry, I know it's a sensitive topic, but I have nothing particularly sensitive to say about anyone's behavior towards Toni, especially her sister. Y'all might call me hateful, y'all might say I don't know what it's like. You're right, I don't, and I wish no one knew what it was like. But I stopped feeling any sympathy for the sister when she told Toni she's right where she wanted to be. She did all of that to say she'll never be leaving no matter what. They have like 7 kids total, by the way. And where's their dad that's supposed to be taking care of his wife? It should have never fallen on the children in the first place. What's worse is the mom knows it's 100% her own fault that her daughters don't love each other, but instead of taking accountability, she broke her sobriety. Honestly, manipulative as hell from where I'm standing, but I'm standing from the outside. They could have all had this conversation together sober, but nope, she got drunk, insulted everyone, and embarrassed her daughter in front of everyone, including her in-laws.
And all you can think about is the fact that you're happy she's gone?
Oh, and I'm also thinking about how I wish she never came.
And it's okay to be mad, but you're not a kid anymore, Toni. You can confront your feelings about your mother and deal with this like an adult.
Okay.
This is why I can't stand when people say family is family. Because her mother caused all this chaos and left, and she's looked at as a victim with a sickness. But Toni isn't allowed to be upset about it. Oh no, it's apparently childish for her to be glad that her mother left. The problem got the fuck on.
Where am I in crazy town? I have had enough of this nonsense!
When does Toni get to be the victim? Can she not because she chose herself and left that toxic environment? Oh my god, I was so angry for Toni this whole episode. Handling things like an adult isn't necessarily always confronting something head on. It can also be knowing when to walk away. You can't help people that don't want to help themselves, and in that moment, her mom played helpless and got drunk knowing the consequences. Like, no one gave a damn about what Toni was feeling. Not everybody deserves forgiveness, but that's a whole nother tangent and I need to get back to the topic of the video. I know it's a case of parentification with Toni's sister, and it's very sad, and there's supposed to be two victims of circumstances here, but...
You can still get out, start over. You could move to LA and live in the condo for free.
Why would I move down to LA when I'm about to make manager at Value Pick?
I can't do it, man. The sympathy evaporated. Mind you, this was the day before.
Sherry, do something.
I always did it. Why don't you do it?
Which is where you think the tension would stem from, but then it pivots to Toni being spoiled and ungrateful somehow.
Who gave you your bath at night? Who got you ready for school? Who combed your hair? So what do you want me to say, Sherry? Thank you? Yes! Yes!
They made up or whatever, but my problem is she said that Toni didn't respect her for choosing that life, but we didn't see any of the disrespect as opposed to being introduced to the sister for the first time, and one of the first things we hear her say to Toni is a dig at her home decor. Can I believe that Toni would definitely shit on her sister's life? Yeah, that's something Toni would do. But as far as I know, they have this huge one-sided beef. We all know Toni doesn't take disrespect well, so hell yeah, she's gonna respond like that. We just know there's tension, and it's just her sister being an asshole. We don't know any backstory or anything. But this whole episode, Toni was the one getting shit on. Not the dad, not the other sister Melanie, not the brother who wasn't even here, so I think they made him up at the wedding to give Maya a story. Not the eldest sister who didn't communicate like an adult like they wanted Toni to do. Just Toni. Like everything was her fault and all of her actions led to this moment. God, it's just so stupid. Now, does this excuse any of Toni's actions or behaviors? No, not at all. It's an explanation. No, Toni shouldn't be treating people like that, but it's a coping mechanism. Any perceived slight, and she felt justified in getting some sort of revenge, even if it was her own doing.
I'm on my side, always have been, no surprises there.
She could get angry at something she knows is her own fault, but somehow make it someone else's fault. Usually played for laughs in the show, but like, if this was a real person, that behavior would be troubling. As shown, her mom spits venom when she's drunk, so if she had to grow up with that, when she was actually around, she had to grow a thick skin. Which is how we get to her sticking up for Joan and Joan feeling indebted to her. Toni had the backbone that she didn't, then witnessed her mom's behavior. Toni isn't always a jerk and shows her soft side only occasionally. But, and this is just speculation, she views that vulnerability as weakness. Which is why when the Todd situation came up, she seemed extra aggressive about his out-of-town work trip, so sure he was leaving her. It was explained away with her being pregnant, but my own assumption was that she didn't want to be without him and knows her attitude isn't something someone would put up with for long, and instead of changing, she got defensive. But also, her pregnancy didn't help that abandonment fear. Despite his hidden debt issue, that was her husband. Then when Todd decided to stay with Toni after Morgan was born, she put aside her own ego for probably the first time ever and asked to go forward with a divorce. They don't even like each other that much during this time, so what's the point? She no longer wanted to stay together just because they have a daughter. Toni and Todd's relationship is, again, a whole nother conversation by itself, honestly. Regarding Morgan, Toni just doesn't view herself as a nurturing type, probably due to the fact she had an absent mom. Which is why she was terrified of being a single mom and relied on everyone else to help with Morgan while she worked. Don't get me wrong, she wanted to give her daughter the world. Everything she didn't have. A chance to be the best mom she could be. But when things were getting tough, she kinda fell apart. People were understanding to a point, particularly Maya, but I don't think they understood completely how Toni was handling things. Some bit of me thinks she had PPD, but they didn't focus quite enough on the struggle for me to make that call. They made it seem like she was selfish and was doing everything wrong on purpose. When she sincerely asks for help, they call her selfish and say, "Single mom life is hard, just get over it, I did it."
You're a single mother, Toni, and that's about juggling. And if you got too many balls in the air, then you know what? Maybe you need to let some go.
Honestly, I might just go ahead and explore that in a separate video with Toni and Todd's relationship. She crashed Joan's therapy sessions so she would stop talking negatively about her, and when that didn't work, she played the "but Joan" card.
You know, it's not all my fault. My mother was very withholding.
Your mother was a drunk.
Every time Joan and she got into it, it was always a big whole drama thing that felt like a breakup, just for them to get over it a few episodes later. The most interesting about it, though, is everyone stayed around her. They very well could have left her and her uppity attitude and her insults alone, but they all chose to stay. And she didn't act like she didn't do or say those things. She just kind of tried making what other people did or said seem worse. It's kind of giving narcissist, but I don't want to throw that word out there willy-nilly. Particularly because she does have empathy somewhere in there, but it doesn't come out often. She worked on it at least. Kinda. Toni Childs has many positive and negative attributes, but one thing's for sure, she's a very complex character. But what do y'all think? Think I was too harsh or too soft on Toni? Think I just got it wrong completely? Let me know in the comments below. Cocoa Cosmos,